Reading sports headlines whilst pretending sports don't exist suggests a fascinating world of magic and whimsy. Darius Slay says he was this close to becoming a Raven. David Montgomery was pursued by Viking Bears. Transfer portal created in good faith, but is out of control, as they so often are. A wolf enters the transfer portal. Terrible news, I hate when that happens. Wizards and Raptors injury reports are terrible news.
Good morning, sweet world, and welcome to the No Dunks podcast on the Athletic Network. It's Monday, April 14th, 2025. I'm Jay Skeets here in the Classic Factory, and alongside me, as always, Melas.
Basketball lovers. This one's for you.
Next to him, he's back from the beach. It's my top shot hot boy, Trey Kerby. Hey-o! And over yonder, he's here all week to pay off his pick'em loss, making the Disney magic happen. It's Eshua Kid, a.k.a. today, Minnie Mouse.
How y'all doing?
No. That's not what Minnie Mouse sounds like.
I don't even know if I can give you a good Minnie Mouse right now.
Come on, one crack at it.
Hi, Mickey.
That's not bad, Esh.
Yeah, you like that?
Yeah.
Look at the fit here.
Oh, yeah, the entire fit for everybody on YouTube. Man, you are owning. And the gloves. Can you operate the board with these gloves on?
These gloves are really something. I'm pressing buttons over here. They don't really, some of the screens,
yeah.
It's not all the way.
You're looking like Jaylen Brown in the dunk contest. There's a callback. Well, Esh will be paying off last month's pick'em loss all week long, operating the show, running the board, and a different costume from the Disney World every day. He doesn't know what we have lined up. So, Minnie Mouse today. Who knows tomorrow?
Deep catalog.
Is your mic on?
I don't think so.
No, is it turned around?
Well, this one's built upside down.
No, not that way. I mean, turn the whole.
What do you want me to point
exactly.
this side at me?
Yeah, that's what I meant.
There you go.
Okay, yeah, there we go.
Yeah, okay.
Sorry, I've been off for a week.
I know. This guy doesn't have mics
forgot
on.
how microphones work. Oh, that's why the A's on the front?
All right. On today's show.
Honestly, I've been dreading this thing sitting in front of me, Skeets. It's rattled me.
That's all right.
You didn't have a mic on
now.
the beach or at the pool, I guess?
Huh?
You didn't have a mic at the beach or on the pool?
No, I did.
Oh,
Yeah, but it was a lav.
Oh. On today's show, we're going to get you all set for the NBA playoffs and preview the 4 play-in games that are coming up on Tuesday and Wednesday night. We got some NBA news in regards to Jaylen Brown and Chauncey Billups, and I'm going to recap how we all did with our over-under team win total bets way back in the preseason. I added it all up, and we'll see who did the best. But before that, someone's taken a shot of nut dust. Entering the final day of the regular season, Trey's Utah Jazz, Tass's Washington Wizards were tied for last place in the league at 17 wins, so a loss for both teams would have meant no dunks history. 2 men doing a shot of nut dust, but instead, for Tassie, Bub Carrington banked in a game winner as time expired to put the Wizards above the Heat, 119-118. Look at this shot.
What a move.
Crazy finish to give the Wizards the win, to give Tass that much-needed win, and Utah couldn't match it in their later games. So, Trey,
No, they couldn't.
you, my man, and your Utah Jazz finish in dead last with 17 wins. Wizards get 18. My Pelicans, pretty clear there with 21. So, yeah, it's time for a shot of nut dust. Yeah, leave it there for a second. Oh my good. What do we got in here?
Well, okay, here's some things that I know are in here. Spicy Cajun mix. That's the orangish you'll see here. A large chunk of it is peanut powder, which I'm kind of scared of. That one seems like it's going to be very chalky to me. And then, Skeets, you brought home the dessert today. Some honey roasted sugar salt,
yeah,
I guess was the top.
Yeah, honey roasted almond sugar, I guess. So
yeah,
that's a concoction. So bottoms up, I guess.
I know. I think I'm gonna have like a Nick Young, JaVale McGee puff.
Oh, can't wait.
Puff of powder. So let's see.
Yeah, here we go.
Oh, wow.
Nice down.
Yeah, great that you took it all in one go.
There's oddly, just like last year with Tass, a little bit of crunch.
Yeah.
Yeah, unlike
There's
mine.
one kernel of corn in here.
Surprise!
You're right. It doesn't taste as bad as you're gonna think, but I am feeling quite thirsty.
Yeah. Is
whole
sipping
single time.
water allowed? I'm not even sure. We didn't really talk about actually drinking anything down, because that's the problem. You got powder in there.
All right. You're saying no drinks off.
Yeah, you should have a drink, I think.
Spicy powder. The spicy powder is getting me now.
Oh, the spiciness. Oh, surprising.
Yeah, all right. Okay, good stuff.
What a
Good
turn.
stuff. Way to go to the Utah Jazz coming in last
Yeah,
place.
I'm a little jealous I didn't get the protein powder. I love a good peanut protein powder.
Walking out.
You were pissed off when Bob Carrington banked it in. You're like, damn.
Man, that was a wild shot.
Oh, God.
Yes.
Yum.
They almost blew it, too, because they had a pretty comfortable lead down the stretch. The Wizards did, and then the Heat were chipping away.
Wow.
Big game from Hawkins Jr., but yeah.
Trey is feeling it. The Heat, I'm surprised. No Miami Heat pun intended.
Yeah, after we did that Tabasco sauce show, brought to you by Tabasco sauce, I thought my throat would be completely ready for it. But once the dust gets in there, starts kicking around, it's bad.
All right, well, let's see if he can power through, because we got lots to talk about.
No drinks.
No, sure. The seeds for the 2025 NBA playoffs and play-in tournament are locked and loaded after all 30 teams competed Sunday afternoon, the final day of the regular season. I had a blast flipping back and forth between the NBA action and the Masters there for a good chunk of the afternoon. But
Overtime.
here's the official bracket. That's right. Congrats to Rory. So we'll show you here on YouTube. Here's the breakdown.
What was that?
We've got a couple of these matchups obviously ready to go. And what we're going to do with our playoff previews, we're going to start rolling those out on Tuesday. So we'll probably tackle the East tomorrow. Pacers, Bucks, Knicks, Pistons, break them down in regards to things to watch for and X factors, and obviously make our predictions. On Wednesday, we'll get to the West. Nuggets, Clippers, Lakers, Wolves. These are nice and spicy. But the big game from yesterday, the marquee game, was that Warriors-Clippers game. Clippers clinch the number 5 seed in overtime, so the Warriors fall all the way to the play-in, which, again, we'll preview a little bit later in the show. But let's talk about this game a little bit, because holy crap, the superstars were coming through for both squads, and it came down to the wire.
Yeah, the superstars. Surprisingly, it was Jimmy Butler scoring like he did. It was a month ago. He was asked about scoring for the Warriors down the stretch because he didn't have to do a lot of it playing with Steph. And he said, don't worry, when it's my time, you'll know it's my time. I'm going to pass to the open man now, and I'll turn it on when I want. And then bang, his first 30-point game as a Golden State Warrior. The Warriors were winning the game when Steph was on the bench. They went on that run with Steph on the bench, surprisingly, 16-3 run in that first quarter. They lost by 15 with Curry on the floor in the first half, but it was still a close game because Jimmy was Jimmy. But then you saw the weaknesses of the Warriors in the second half. The rebounds, the size was a problem. 14-6 second chance points for the Clippers. 42-25 overall in the rebounding department. That's a freaking big gap. 17 boards, and obviously Zubats, who's a Warriors killer, was monstrous. 22 points, 17 boards, 11-16 shooting, and the perimeter defense just couldn't stop the Kawhi and the Harden combo. It's crazy when you think about this game. The Clippers only got 8 points off the bench, and they still win a game because of Kawhi and how he looked phenomenal. He looked back to that old Kawhi, and he made that great steal, 30 seconds left, so he's looking great on both sides, stealing it from Steph. But James Harden was the guy. 39 points, 10 boards, 7 rebounds, or 10 assists, 7 rebounds, I should say. He scored all but one of the Clippers' points in overtime. That's pretty phenomenal. You could just rely on that guy to go over and over and over on one side, while on the other side, yeah, the Warriors couldn't get it done on those couple of possessions, especially with Draymond Green missing a layup with 30 seconds left, and then Buddy Hield missing the 3-point shot right after that. So the question is, should Jimmy have even been on the floor after getting popped by Kawhi Leonard? Yep. I mean, he really was not himself on the other end. He was just stood there while Draymond Green was the guy to go to on the offensive end. Here's your layup. Jimmy was just standing in the corner, and then he inbounded the ball for Buddy Hield. So do you guys think Jimmy Butler should have been on the floor in that instance, or should he have been sitting for somebody else? Because obviously Steve Kerr was going for it in this game. Jonathan Kuminga, you don't see a minute. I mean, he was really just playing the guys because they're going for the win. But in that instance, I thought, no, maybe we should switch it up because Jimmy was literally limping on the floor.
He was banged up. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it had that much of an impact. I think Draymond Green botching a bunny obviously had much more of a difference on this game, and it was like, I mean, I'll sort of credit. I think Gary Payton waited a beat too long to pass that to him. I think he wanted to pass it to Jimmy in the corner at first. Then he found Draymond, and I think Draymond, a little Kawhi in his head there, who was coming back to help, and he tried to rush it. He also tried to do the Draymond thing where he's like, I'm almost trying to get the foul, and I'm not focusing on the layup. Huge miss. But those other steals, like that 1-2 where they got, I think it was Zubats, and I forget who was with them in the corner, got Curry. Down the stretch as well. That was a big turnover, but yeah, I guess, I don't know, leaving Jimmy out there for the final 35 seconds where he's hobbling around it didn't lose the game for the Warriors for me. Well, we'll see how he looks, I guess, on Tuesday night, though, or Wednesday night.
That's the worst thing that happened to the Warriors is that they have to play again so soon after Jimmy took basically a knee to the knee. So I'm with you. I think they tried to keep him out there as a decoy. Maybe he ends up making a big play and then they get a week off, which would be huge. Yeah. Obviously, that didn't happen because James Harden is great. He's a great player. He should be an all-NBA player this season. They got 50 wins this year. That's crazy. Ty Lue barely getting any buzz for Coach of the Year, but he's first-team all-coach. They got to 50 wins, basically playing Harden, Zubats, Derek Jones Jr., Amir Coffey, Chris Dunn, and Nick Batum. Those are the only guys that played 70-plus games for the Clippers this year. Norm Powell, great season. He only played 60. Kawhi Leonard, 37. They kind of lucked out in that Kawhi got healthy when Norm Powell went down, so they could kind of sub in and out there. So I guess they had maybe 80 games of those guys combined, which is huge, but this is not a team that I thought was going to be great. Harden didn't have the most efficient season he's had, but he was such an engine offensively as a playmaker, scoring as well. Zubats was big time defensively. Now, you look at the Clippers, they made it to the playoffs healthy. That's impressive. Yeah. Now they got to make it through the playoffs healthy. You know, Kawhi Leonard has oftentimes gotten to the playoffs and getting hurt right away. This is most similar, I think, to the 2023 year, played a ton, gets to the playoffs, awesome in the first two games, torn meniscus, and then he was out after that. Last year as well, sat the first playoff game, played two, out after that. So if he's there, they look like a team that could make some noise because they play playoff basketball all year round. They play defensively, and then they just mismatch Hunt on the other end. Kawhi isolations, Harden isolations. That's what happens in games 5, 6, 7 in every playoff series. We get rid of the bad players, we play defense, and you hit tough shots. They've got guys who can do both. Let's see if they're both on the court. Let's see if they're both reliable in the playoffs. That is the question, but good stuff. Awesome end to the regular season that this went into overtime as the last game that was happening, as the only game that was on at the time. Steph Curry said, I don't mean to oversell things. This is going to be like a game 7. And then he had an awesome game. Butler had an awesome game. Kawhi and Harden both had awesome games. That's what it's all about. Yeah, it was playoff atmosphere. I thought the Clippers did get the benefit of those 50-50 calls a couple down the stretch. I'm talking, this guy's still coughing up. I got one piece of corn. He's killing me. They got the one where...
This wasn't a corn dust bowl.
Jeez. The one where Harden was definitely throwing the lob to Zubats, and they called it like, I guess it was a shot, so he got the free throws on that one. You know, one of those like 50-50 ones. There was the Jimmy Butler goaltending call. Now that one I think they did get right in looking at it. It was coming down, even though Bob Myers was trying to say, I don't know, I'm not sure, I don't know. And you know, there's a couple other just bang calls where they more often than not went the Clippers' way. But what a game! And it was a weird game where the Warriors shot well from 3, got to the free throw line more. You know, recorded 31 assists, so they were moving the ball around. They had points off turnovers more than the Clips, but they still lose because they just got spanked on the glass. That was huge. I mean, Zubats was coming up with big ones. Ben Simmons had a huge one in this game, sort of down the stretch, and they were just hustling for loose balls and getting to those. So fun game and huge, could have a massive impact, of course, on this postseason, where the Clippers are now in the 4-5 matchup against the Nuggets, and the Warriors got to fight their way in. You feel confident that they can take care of the Grizzlies? I know we'll get to it, but to get into the playoffs, could this work out for them? I guess what I'm getting at, you know, if they beat the Grizzlies and then they're the 7th seed and they take on obviously an inexperienced Rockets team.
I think they would have rather chilled here for a week. You look at the guys; they're completely bumped up. I mean, they're injured. I know they're going to play. Jimmy's going to
with
play.
his thumb.
Steph's going to play.
Yeah.
Draymond also went to the locker room with a neck injury. He came back. But, yeah, to see Butler take that shot to the thigh and Steph, he had that thumb injury. I mean, the thumb injury doesn't mean a whole heck of a lot. If you watch him pregame, he's hitting half-court shots. But he did start a little bit slowly. They needed Jimmy to be awesome, and they're going to need Jimmy to be awesome again. I mean, when we preview this game, we'll talk about how they looked the last time they played. Steph had 52. Jimmy also had an awesome game, scoring 27. So they're just going to need that stuff. But no, I think they'd rather be chilling. But yeah, the Clippers guys, they came through it. Even Chris Dunn, 3 steals. They just don't allow anything to happen for the Warriors. They were just in every single passing lane. They did a great job. Yeah, and the size was huge. I mean, 8 turnovers for Steph Curry. You just don't see that very often. It's the Clippers defense, man.
Nobody else wanted to shoot for the Warriors either, was a big thing. Like when they have Draymond out there with Jimmy Butler, they're not always looking for their shots, and there's not a lot of spacing for the Warriors. And I think that's another part of the reason Kuminga didn't play. The guy really throws off the chemistry on the team. He doesn't move the ball either. I think this works out better for the Warriors. I think they have an easier path to the Western Conference Finals, assuming they beat Memphis in the 7-8 game. You don't want to play OKC in round 1, but I think they would feel pretty confident going up against the Rockets in round 1. They were 3-2. That's a weird number against Houston during the regular season. 2-1 against OKC, which I guess, they'll feel confident at least because they played them pretty tough this season and last season. Just 1-3 against the Lakers. But they got to worry about Curry's thumb. They got to worry about Jimmy's leg. And, I mean, the Rockets have been playing a double big lineup that's been pretty successful recently with Adams and Şengün. That could be a problem for Golden State, but I think this is an easier path for them to advance in the Western Conference than they were going against the Lakers in round 1.
Right. Just back to Chris Dunn for a second. You brought up his how great he is defensively, and he is. He should be on one of those all defensive teams, and I think he will be. I liked what I saw from him where they hey, can you be Draymond Green for a couple minutes here where we're going to run the double and get the ball out of Kawhi or Harden's hands aggressively, and he's right there at the nail. He made some nice plays. Turned around, actually looked either for a shot or, more times than not, okay, I can just throw it to Zubats on the back line there in the dunker spot. So I think you're going to see that at times where you're just going to force those other superstars in Harden and Kawhi, just get rid of the ball. He came through in that game. He was really, really good.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts?
It's wild that, a 5th overall pick has found his role in this league as a real complimentary guy. I think it's going to keep going for his 30s. I mean, it just feels like he's been around forever. But yeah, he compliments those other guys. If they're playing, they're going to look great.
This is going to be Chris Dunn's, really first postseason. Was he on the Hawks maybe once? I don't think he played all that much when they made the playoffs, but he has had very little postseason success and been on teams in there. So that's good for him. He's on a good team here. And
Yeah,
they've
he's
obviously
mostly played on bad teams. For instance, the Bulls. For instance, the Jazz. We'll see if he can shoot in the playoffs. That's what it's going to all come down to. He's going to be guarded by whoever the worst defender is. He's going to be left open. They're going to encourage him to shoot. He made 3 yesterday. That's awesome. Can he make 3 in a playoff series? Maybe, because if not, he's going to be on the bench.
Yeah. All right. Again, we will preview Nuggets, Clippers. We'll do that later this week. We got all week to get ready for those series that start on the weekend, and we'll get into the play-in in a second. But I wanted to get your opinion on Mikal Bridges, the NBA's Iron Man. He logged just 6 seconds in Sunday's regular season finale before purposely fouling a Nets player and checking out for the remainder of the game versus the tanking Nets there at Barclays Center. So here it is on YouTube. He is going to foul right away, and then he checked out. All right, see you later. So it represented Bridges' 556th consecutive game played, almost double the number of number 2 Harrison Barnes, whose streak hit 304 on Sunday, playing all 82. But man, Twitter, social media had a lot of opinions on this. It felt 50-50. People are like, what? This should not count. He's done this before. I think he's done it twice before where he's done the whole let's keep the streak alive. I'll suit up, I'll play, I'll foul, and then I'll check out. So people are like, no, that shouldn't count. Oh, this is a joke. This is a loophole. And then the other people are like, relax. He got in there. Who cares? Where do you fall in this debate of Mikal Bridges, with getting tricky to keep the streak alive?
Okay, so I did go and look. AC Green did the same thing once. During his streak, he's got a 4-second appearance in a game.
Okay.
Though it was in the second half. They literally just checked him in to keep the streak going.
Okay.
That's all this is, but this shouldn't count. Now that we have these rules for 65 games for the awards thing, and you got to play 20 minutes in those games, that seems like the definition of a game that counts.
Yeah.
just keep him out there. Play a whole first stint. If you play 6 minutes, it looks better than if you play 6 seconds.
6 seconds is pretty
ridiculous.
Funny. My favorite part, did you notice in the clip, I swear he like goes and takes out his mouth guard. So he had his mouth guard in for the
You never know what's going to happen.
Yeah. Now he has said, I guess, Tass, like I was good to go. I was ready to go, but obviously Knicks weren't playing for anything, and you want to save him for the postseason. You don't want anybody injured. So he's saying, like, this isn't my choice, really, and I want to keep the streak alive. But what's your opinion on it?
Yeah, I would have rather seen a couple minutes. I think it was way more interesting to see Jared Allen, who wanted to play 82 games in Cleveland. He actually played 40 seconds. I thought that was more interesting. The first possession that he got, he chucked a three. He had played one offensive possession. The play was run for him to shoot a 3-ball, which he doesn't shoot. He shot a few this year. But he chucked that, and then he played 2 plays after that, and then he fouled, and he's done. I thought that was.
So
I thought there was a little more flair. Yeah, there's a little story there for us talking about it the next day, rather than guy fouls, he sits. Jared Allen, monster, doesn't shoot threes. He chucked one. I mean, Mikal shoots threes, so I don't know what the equivalent really is for him to do. You know, like do something different, do something fun. There ain't really anything.
Do something fun.
He just waited for the jump ball and then fouled the guy immediately.
Yeah.
Literally 5 or 6 seconds.
Yeah, what would have happened if they won the jump ball? Charge? Just barrel into somebody?
Shot it once, maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
Shot it once and fouled, I would assume.
Well, I would be very mad at whoever their center was, jumping center. Didn't even get a shot attempt.
Yeah.
He's still 7 3/4 seasons from breaking AC Green's record.
Yeah.
636 games shy at this point. Not even halfway there.
That is amazing. And I like, look,
Despite doing this twice and the day he got traded.
He's done this 3 times. I think he's done it a third time.
Maybe so. I
Yeah.
definitely know he did it in 2023,
Yes.
which is when I looked.
Yeah.
And on the day he got traded in 2023, the Brooklyn Nets had a game that he didn't play in, but the NBA said that's okay.
Yeah.
They want this streak broken. They want AC Green out of the record.
outta here,
books.
AC.
They'll do anything to keep it going.
It's going to take a while, though, like you said. Well, very, very long time until we're maybe talking about Bridges passing AC Green. Well, let's hear everybody's opinion. Again, everyone like has a take on this. Shouldn't count. This is a joke, or who cares? I mean, he did play. It's like, again, I just keep thinking, like, he's got to put his jersey on, he's got to go through the motions, and then just all for 5 or 6 seconds, take the mouth guard out, and off to the locker room.
What do you guys think about these guys that were playing for just a bit, and then they come back out in the street clothes?
Yeah.
Right, like go literally and shower, and then
Yes.
come back to the bench.
Because I feel like that's a worse offense than playing 6 seconds. To me, I don't know.
That's a worse offense.
I agree. It is a worse
Because like
offense.
Mikal Bridges, he goes in, he fouls. He's like, okay, he got in the side, but he keeps the streak alive. Whatever. I showed up to work. That's cool. I get rewarded for it. But these guys are just like, yeah, I'm here. I don't know. To me, like you in the backwards hat thing, Skeets.
Yeah.
This to me, I'm like, man, you stay in your jersey. I don't know. It just kind of.
It upsets you more if someone played literally 15 minutes and then, because they know they're not playing the second half, shower at halftime and come and join the team on the bench.
Yes. I don't know why, but I saw it. Didn't Kuzma did it yesterday?
It's definitely happened,
And
yeah.
I was
I
just
feel like
like-
Jaylen Green maybe did it too in a game, yeah.
To me, that's super weird. I don't. That's just me being a stickler, I guess. But more weird than playing 6 seconds.
I think it would be very funny if you did do that, but then like your team got like in crazy foul trouble and guys were fouling out or injuries happen, and then you're like,
Right.
you got to go back and change. That would suck.
Your sweaty jersey.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yucky.
Yeah, but Mikal Bridges, did he even need to shower? I mean, he didn't run.
No.
He warmed up. Did he sweat?
I feel like he's
if
not
you
a
know you're
sweater.
playing 6 seconds, how hard are you going in pregame warm-ups?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm dicking around so much. Yeah, I'm not doing anything.
Let's see the tape.
Yeah, I know. Like that's the thing. He may have gone through like his normal routine. These guys are creatures of habit,
Yeah.
right? They do go through everything the exact same. So yeah, let's watch the Bridges warm-up tape. Anyway, this is also in addition to that Iron Man, I guess. Year 20, Chris Paul started all 82 games. He made some NBA history in doing so. Previous mark was held by Utah's John Stockton for the oldest guy to play all 82 games. He did that in his 19th season. John Stockton did, but like I said, year 20 here for Chris Paul. And correct me if I'm wrong, Spurs they have 3 guys that did it. Harrison Barnes and maybe a Champagny also played in all 82, which hasn't been done in a very long time for a team to have 3 guys run the gauntlet. So kudos to Chris Paul. That's pretty amazing.
Honestly,
amazing.
that's pretty amazing. I turned on a Spurs game like 2 weeks ago and I was like, what? Literally, I'd forgotten about Chris Paul. Once Wemby went down, the Spurs weren't necessarily at the top of my watch list. So see Chris Paul out there actually doing stuff, I think it makes sense that he would be going against John Stockton. He's kind of our generation's John Stockton.
Yeah. Yep, makes sense. The Thunder, they finished 68-14. Just wanted to slip this in here. They finished the season outscoring teams by 12.9 points per game, smashing the previous mark that had stood for more than half a century. The Lakers outscored teams by 12.3 points per game in 71-72. That was the record until now. So that's how dominant the Thunder's regular season was. They outscored opponents by over 1,000 points, 1,055 points. 68-14, one of the best records of all time. I think it's maybe 7th or something. So now it means nothing. Honestly, it's an incredible regular season. Now it means nothing, and if anything, sort of the pressure is on now to be like all those teams that have those crazy, records where they outscore teams. They generally go on to win the championship. So now can OKC do it? Yesterday, Celtics coach Joe Mazzulla confirmed an ESPN report that Jaylen Brown received pain management injections during the week to help his troublesome right knee. So his minutes had been decreasing over the last month or so while he tried to work through this knee injury. But obviously, like I said, Maz confirming, we're trying to take care of this. He did say he should be good to go. Are you concerned at all, Tass, for the Celtics' chances to repeat with this Jaylen Brown injury?
I don't think so. I think Jaylen Brown is tough as nails, as his teammates have said. I mean, he's going to play through it. Kristaps Porzingis said he's good. He's going to play through it. He even said, quote, I learned that I have a lot of skill during this because my skill level is very high. And as you've seen tonight in a previous game, he said after a game, he said, no dunks, no transition points. I can still affect the score again in multiple ways. So
thanks for the shout out.
No dunks, yeah. So it's like he learned the game in a different way. It's like you're sitting on the bench and understanding the game in a different way. So I don't think it's a problem. I think he knew this whole time what he was going to do, and that's it. Frankly, I'm not too concerned.
It's only a problem if it becomes a problem, because they're going to need Jaylen Brown to win the championship, and they're going to need him at his best because he's their go-to wing stopper against the bigger guys. So you're thinking his size, his strength, his quickness are vital against Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Should they meet the Thunder in the championship series? The championship series?
Yeah, easy baseball guy.
Okay.
You're Patrick Dumont.
In the championship games, Luka Doncic, if the Lakers somehow make it to the finals as well. Even against Cleveland's guards, I think the jumbo size that Jaylen Brown brings with the quickness he has is huge against them. Those games are months from now. We're all thinking that the Celtics are going to have a little bit tougher time in the Eastern Conference playoffs. If he's getting injections before we started the hardest part of the season, I think that's a little bit concerning. If it degenerates and becomes a problem once they get to the conference finals and the finals, they're going to need Jaylen Brown at 100% strength because he's going to have a huge lift on the defensive end.
One of my other takeaways from this was I believe Jaylen Brown doesn't think he's going to make the All-NBA third team, let's say, because he could have played through the pain here and got out there and got his minutes in like he was Mikal Bridges or something like that and played in 2 more games to hit the 65 game threshold because he falls short at 63, but he has had a little bit of a down here, especially shooting the 3 ball. Still good. 22, 6, 4.5. Like, he's a very, very good player, and they're going to need a lot from him in the playoffs, like you guys said. But even I think he's like, I'm probably not making All-NBA this year. Don't need to play those games. And then I read this from Boston.com, sort of speaks to what you were saying, Tass, about him watching and maybe adapting his game a little bit. Quote, Brown's discomfort has been visible lately, and he said he has been studying game tape of Paul Pierce as he adapts to a somewhat less explosive style of play. So I was like, oh, okay. So he's like, I'm turning into Paul Pierce here, maybe because I've lost that explosiveness a little bit because of the knee. So I'm going to watch some Paul Pierce game tape. So, I mean, I don't know what that means.
He's been pump faking more. I agree.
Sure.
So, I mean, that's a Paul Pierce move, yeah.
Yeah. So something to watch here when we get into the postseason. Is he turning into Paul Pierce?
Yeah. And you can flip it into a positive and say he didn't play in 65 games because he wanted to get ready for the playoffs and sit out games. And he said, quote, before this whole thing happened, he said, I bank on being by the playoffs. We got some stuff lined up. I bank on being even better than I feel now. The things lined up were some injections. I mean, he was ready to get injected. Mm-hmm. And no doctors here. No dunks, also no doctors. Unsure how he's going to look. But if Jaylen Brown looks anything like he looks like, I mean, he's going to be a great player. And now he can play like Paul Pierce, I guess. I mean, ground bound, which isn't fantastic. But yeah, I think he'll be totally fine.
Some coaching news yesterday. The Portland Trailblazers have signed coach Chauncey Billups to a multi-year contract extension. Portland finished 36-46, the same record as the Phoenix Suns. Just to put that in perspective. But Billups led the Blazers to a 23-18 record since like mid-January, and they ranked like top 5 in the NBA in defense. This is a young team, Trey. So they are rewarding Chauncey Billups, who was a guy, no doubt, that was like on the hot seat. Heading into the season, maybe at the start of the season, we wondered if he was even going to last the season. And he turned it around in the second half and had them playing well, and he's going to have an extension here.
Yeah, I'm with you, Skeets. I think coming into the year, basically a lame duck coach wouldn't have been surprising if things went the way the first half of the season went. Chauncey Billups probably isn't getting this extension, but for the first time since he's been the coach there, they have a little bit of an identity, being one of the best defensive teams in the league for half of a season. They've got a little bit of an upward mobility going here. Zero expectations. I think it helps that Scoot Henderson had a turnaround season. I think it definitely helps that most of the improvements in the second half were with young guys. Like DeAndre Ayton wasn't leading the charge. Jeremy Grant just doesn't play. He hasn't played a game after March 12th since he came to Portland. Amazing.
That's crazy.
Guy just have you seen Jeremy Grant play a minute for the Blazers? No, you haven't. Nobody watches this team, and nobody watches Jeremy Grant, but they play defense. Denny Avdia had a great year. Tamani Kamara is going to get votes on the all-defense team. So I think it's at least encouraging. Next year there will be more expectations. They're still going to be in the Western Conference, I think. Very, very far west. West is still going to be good. Next year they have to make the play-ins. My prediction would be that Chauncey Billups doesn't finish this contract that he's signing with the Blazers, but at least he got it. I didn't think he would heading into the season.
So you think they're just not going to be good enough and he'll get canned at some point?
Yeah.
Expectations start to rise.
He hasn't had a 500 season yet.
Yeah. Well, he's turned some of these players into good players. That's why he gets this extension. And he deserves it, obviously, that they have an identity. And, yeah, guys like Donovan Clingan look awesome in his rookie season. And you mentioned the Shaedon Sharpe growth, the Kamara. They look like a great team.
Joe Cronin also will be sticking with the Blazers in a front office role as their GM. Those guys are tight, so he's also going to stick around. I think with Billups, the best traits a young coach can have is have your team play some defense, which, again, like I said, they did turn on in the second half of the year, and just play hard for 48 minutes. Like that's the baseline. When you have a very young team, I think they're the third youngest team in the league, despite some of these, I guess, vets on their squad that are not really playing all that much in Jeremy Grant's case. But that's good, and that's why he got it. And I do hear you though, Trey, because now expectations start to get set. This is a great year, great second half. So if you're sort of looking at the Rockets' trajectory, well, that was sort of, they were very bad for a while. Then they were flirting with the play-in. Sort of what the Blazers were sort of doing here this year. Maybe it was a little too far behind. And then it's what? It's obviously get into the play-in at the very least, if not the playoffs. So there will be expectations next year, but got some talent on that team, and he helped coach him up. So he's got the contract extension.
The 4th and the 8th seed in the Western Conference fired their coaches.
Yeah.
And now, 36-46, that's good for the Blazers. That's not good. 36-46 next year doesn't look the same.
Right. Wouldn't hit the same. But maybe you can turn them into a 46-36. That'd be very tough in the West, but maybe just start with making the play-in, or at least sniffing it. Speaking of the play-in, you want to preview them? Let's do it. Play-in tournament features the teams seeded 7 through 10 in each conference. They're battling for those last 2 playoff spots. Teams that finish 7th and 8th in the standings, they face off first for that number 7 seed, and here is the schedule. Teams that finish 9th and 10th, they go head-to-head the next night. Winner of that game then faces the loser of the 7-8 game on Friday, and that winner will get the number 8 seed. This has been around since 2021, the play-in tournament. You can bet your ass Jonas Valanciunas is back in it. He never misses a play-in tournament. So let's go through them. Let's get some predictions, things to watch for. We'll start in chronological order here. Tuesday night, first game, 7:30 on TNT. Number 8 Hawks versus the number 7 Magic. Task. So the winner earns the 7 seed. How do you see this one playing out?
Let's start with the biggest game. Magic Hawks, baby.
They played yesterday.
They did.
Totally different game on Tuesday.
They played 7 days ago. They played last Tuesday, so it's 6 days ago, but 7 days before their next game. And Paolo Banchero was awesome in that game. The Hawks kind of lack a big to really guard him. Onyeka Okongwu had to guard him. Banchero looked great, and he got guys into foul trouble. Risache, Moguet, they're in foul trouble. Everybody's sitting down. That being said, they're going to rely on Paolo Banchero again because their offense overall it stinks. So they just have to rely on those guys. And will Trae Young have a moment? He's had big moments in the postseason. This is their postseason. I mean, this is it for them. Can Trae Young be awesome in Orlando, where they have won a game this year? Does that mean something? It does mean something. They've won a game on the road. But really, it's going to be those bigs, very young bigs. When I mentioned Risache, Moguet, and Onyeka Okongwu being able to guard Banchero. That's the biggest thing. I know it's not really an X factor, but it really is the way the Orlando Magic function on offense. It's up to that guy to have a monstrous game.
Yep.
Yeah, both teams have a starter that when I'm going through the lineups, I put, really? Corey Joseph is really starting for the Magic? Moguet is really starting for the Hawks in a do-or-die game, basically. So, I don't know. It basically comes down to who plays better between Trae Young and then Franz and Paolo. Because I think there's not great matchups either way. Trae Young has kind of struggled against the Magic because they throw a ton of size at him. Franz Wagner's the main defender on him, and he just kind of envelops Trae, gets the ball out of his hands. So it's going to be on the other guys to make shots as well. So that includes Risache. Okongwu has to have a big game. Moguet's got to do something out there. The Hawks definitely have better depth than the Magic do between LeVert, Niang, and Terrence Mann. 37 points per game. Does that matter all that much in a one-game scenario? I don't know. You can just play your starters 45 minutes if you're the Magic, which is what they should probably do because then you get the rest. But it's a bit of a styles makes fight kind of game. Post All-Star Atlanta, 6th in offense, 21st in defense. Post All-Star Orlando, 21st in offense, 3rd in defense. You know the Orlando's going to play defensively pretty well. Do they get any sort of offense efficiently from Paolo, from Franz? What's the turnovers look like? I think there's going to be a huge question there. And can Trae have an awesome game is what it comes down to for the Hawks.
Yeah. For the Magic, can they, I guess the magic number is what, hit 10 or 11 more threes? Because if they do that, they're pretty solid. When they're under 10, they're ghastly. Like they have a 5-29 record when they can't hit 10 or more threes. Though, oddly, one of those victories came against the Hawks. So I don't know what that says, but they are the NBA's worst three-point shooting team in the league, obviously in the play-in or playoffs, whatever you want to call this. But they were like, they're basically unbeatable when they hit like 15 threes, which is like almost average, it feels like, for any other team. They're like 12-2 in those marks. So can anybody knock them down? You would think the Hawks will allow them, see if those shooters can let them rip. But I'm leaning towards the Magic in this one. Home court advantage, obviously the Paolo factor. I'm with you, Tass. I just don't see anybody that can stop him. He needs to have a good game because every once in a while he'll have like your 5 for 18, 5 for 19 type game, and just where it's not falling for him and he can get frustrated. But I'm leaning Magic. You going ATL or ORL?
I lean Magic for sure, but I want a Trae game just for fun. But yes, I think home advantage is something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where are you going?
And matchups is something. But
all right, I'll swerve. I'll take the Hawks.
Yeah. One game, right? And they have experience. This is how many years in a row is this for the Hawks? 4th?
It's at least the 3rd, maybe 4th.
I think it's 4th. I think it's their 4th straight play-in appearance. So they know what comes with this type of game. Orlando's going to be a little shook. They're not going to get it. What do you mean? We're only playing once? What?
Paolo had an awesome Game 7 last year, 38 points, 16 rebounds against the Cleveland Cavaliers. He showed up.
Do it again. But he had some stinkers also in that series.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I think he shot 10 for 28 in that game.
Right.
35% is bad. Like, Paolo will put up a huge number in the point department. And a lot of shots as well.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's hear from everybody out there. And Ash or Minnie Mouse, don't be afraid to chime in here. Who you got? You team Hawks? Or?
I'm taking the Hawks.
Yeah,
Gotta go with the Hawks.
Okay.
Wow, even though Disney sponsors the Magic?
Wow. The second game on Tuesday night. This one looks a little bit better. Number 8 Grizzlies versus the number 7 Warriors. Winner goes through as the 7th seed and will take on the Rockets. Warriors have never won a play-in game. 0-3 in their previous 2 appearances. Steph Curry has never won a play-in game. How weird is that? But Trey, you get us started here. What are you watching for, and how do you see this one going?
I'm watching a lot of things in this game because I think it's kind of confusing on both sides. Who guards Ja Morant for the Warriors? Are they going to start with their small lineup that they've been going with? Podziemski, Curry, Jimmy, Moses Moody, and Draymond Green. That's what they've been winning with since the Jimmy trade, basically. But that doesn't leave you a great option for guarding Ja Morant. I guess it'll be a little bit of Podziemski. It'll be a little bit of Moody as well. Jimmy probably slots in. But Jimmy also guards Jaren Jackson Jr. quite a bit. I think Zach Edey can be an X factor here. Certainly the Grizzlies are going to have a size advantage between Edey and Jaren Jackson Jr. So does Kevon Looney get a spot start? Does he start the second half for this team if they're getting destroyed on the glass? I think there are questions to be had there. But then when you look at who could potentially be the X factor for the Grizzlies, it kind of comes down to Scottie Pippen Jr. and Zach Edey. I think I'll take my chances with the Warriors on the other side. I think you can also throw out a lot of the season-long stats for the Grizzlies because they've been so bad during the last third of the season here. Losing Jalen Wells hurts massively for them. Their best game against the Warriors, he held Curry without a field goal, putting his head on his chest.
Yep.
He's out, so now they don't really have a great option for guarding Steph Curry. And that's the biggest issue for this team, alongside Jaren Jackson Jr. getting in foul trouble. Jimmy Butler's going to pump fake this guy into oblivion. So stay down, buddy, if you want to have a chance.
So you're leaning Warriors.
I'm leaning heavily Warriors.
Yeah.
I think they're going to win this easily.
Yeah, you got to go with the Warriors here. There's no doubt. They played 2 weeks ago against the Memphis Grizzlies. That was the night that Steph had 52, and they needed every single point. It went down to the wire. Jimmy Butler was also massive in that game because he had 27 on 12 free throws. So, yeah, he will be pump faking, and Dre will be in his ears saying, pump fake that Jaren Jackson Jr. And they were able to get Jaren Jackson Jr. fouled out in this game. Can they do it again? I think there's a good possibility. Now, the injuries on the Warriors side are real. I mean, Steph's thumb is fine, but Jimmy hobbling around is something. And will he be able to feel good going into this game? He didn't feel good at the end of that game against the Clippers. I mean, he was literally just standing there. But that being said, I mean, they have enough to beat the Grizzlies, especially with no Jalen Wells being able to face guard Steph Curry. I mean, who is otherworldly to score 52 points. That's just freaking hard to do. On the other side, like Zach Edey had 16 boards in that game. They can outsize the Golden State Warriors. I don't think they're going to turn to Kevon Looney or Quinton Post all that much. But I don't think they have enough offense. Like, Morant has going to have to be incredible, and he's pretty good against the Warriors. He hit 5 threes 2 weeks ago against the Golden State Warriors. He scored 36 points. But you're just going to have to get some special offensive performances, and you got to get Jaren Jackson Jr. just being smart and not fouling out. So you're just asking a lot against the team that's playing for their frickin' I don't think they want to get into a second playing game. The Golden State Warriors want to win this thing here and finish it and get into the playoffs.
Yeah, and give themselves a chance even to win against maybe a Houston Rockets team. Yeah. I think even if you're the 8th seed, not only do you have to play that game to get the 8th seed, but then you're playing the Thunder, and it's like, okay, good luck with that. Butler does say don't worry about the quad injury. He said, I'll be all right. Go home, play some dominoes, drink some coffee, and hope it feels better. So did he just get like almost like a weird Charlie horse? I mean, Kawhi banged the hell out of that quad, or hurt, man. It looked like it was his knee at first, but I guess that's better that it was above the knee.
Yeah, it was above the knee, but he was, even in the hallways afterwards, he was hobbling. God. That being said, some coffee and some dominoes, all good, I guess.
Fixes everything. Okay, so you're going Warriors.
Yeah,
I'm with you guys. Ash, where are you going? Grizzlies can do this again. They've beat the Warriors before in a play-in game. Can Ja Morant do it again?
Yeah, and I hear what you're saying about the Warriors never winning in a play-in, but I do have faith in the Warriors here. I think they got it, especially with all the turmoil around the Grizzlies over the past couple weeks, past month or whatever. So, Warriors.
Okay. And they just they just had a really high-stakes, like, sort of playoff-like game against the Clippers. Obviously, you can sort of just keep riding that wave. I'm with you guys. I'm going Warriors in this. Okay, Wednesday, 7:30 Eastern. The number 10 Miami Heat versus Trey Kerby's number 9 Chicago Bulls. Loser is eliminated. Winner gets one more crack at trying to win the 8th seed. Where are you going? Well, TK, I know where you're going, but why are you going? The Chicago Bulls at home over the Heat.
Well, my heart wants the Hawks to lose the first play-in game and then the Bulls to win so I can see a showdown here in Atlanta.
Okay.
My heart knows the best, or my head knows the best thing for this is the Heat to win and the Bulls to get into the lottery. I was tankathon mad this morning. I had to sim 24 times before I got the Bulls jumping up but they did jump up to number 1 on that 24th spin.
Oh, okay. Well,
I think they got a 6% chance of being in the top 4. But the thing with the Bulls is they're not going to have the element of surprise. I think part of the reason they had success during the last 20 games of the season is that they were a curveball team. They play the fastest pace in the league. All they're doing is chucking threes. It's different when you have one game and you're preparing for one team. They're not going to be able to surprise the Heat like that. But 3-0 against Miami. The Bulls are a better three-point shooting team than Miami has been. They're 3rd in the league for the entire season versus 11th for Miami. And after the All-Star break, for whatever reason, the Bulls are good at defense. 10th in defense, surprisingly good in the clutch. I think they finished 4th in clutch defense after the All-Star break. Miami, we know, is a terrible clutch offensive team, 30th in clutch offense after the All-Star game. I think there's going to be a ton of cross-matching in this one because the defensive matchups just don't make sense literally for either team, who you want guarding who. So I think there's going to be a ton of switching, which is advantage Bulls because they play fast and you can get the other team scrambled. They just have to be able to play fast. It's going to come down to who makes more threes, and the Bulls are generally better. So we shall see.
Can Josh Giddey stay hot?
Can Josh Giddey stay hot?
This guy's been unreal when it comes to shooting and three-pointers.
He has been.
That might be, big reason why the Thunder maybe moved off him. Like, he sort of got, played off the floor at times. Like, everybody was just leave him. Like, he's not a threat to shoot. He doesn't want to shoot. So far, so good right now with the Bulls, at least over the last little stretch. What do you think here, Tess?
I can't wait to see Josh Giddey in a big game scenario. I mean, it's fun to see a guy everybody will call the March man, like somebody who's played extremely well.
Mickey Mouse March. Minnie Mouse March.
What do you think, Mickey Mouse March? Do you think Josh Giddey's going to play great? I mean, his stats after the All-Star game are ridiculous.
Yeah.
Since then, it's 19 games. It's not just like a handful. He's averaged 21 points on 50 from the floor, 46 from 3, rounding up, almost 11 boards and 9 assists.
It's a quarter of the season.
Yeah, he has been fantastic. He's also grown a little bit into his pull-up shots because he's never been good at that, and he's not incredible at that, but everybody will drop below any sort of pick. Everybody will drop if you're defending against Josh Giddey, but he's been better this entire season. He's doing a little bit more, so I just want to see him in a big game performance. They should have a huge home advantage situation. It's a tough place to play. I'm looking forward to the Miami Heat. It is.
Bulls are better on the road than at home this season.
That's the only issue.
I know, but come playoffs, the UC will be alive. It's going to be happening there.
Yeah, it's a strange one. Like, I do think the Bulls are going to win, but it's like the Heat obviously have played in a ton of play-in games as well. But Jimmy Butler was sort of in the mix then, and their season's been like, it was obviously just railroaded by Jimmy Butler. It's like completely wasted in a weird way. They haven't been good. They weren't good before the Jimmy Butler trade. They weren't good after. But then I'm like, they have like maybe the 2 best players in this game, like when they're at their peak, in Bam and Tyler Hero, and that's not to discredit like obviously some of the great Bulls players and Kobe White and Giddey the way he's played, but they just are. So it's like, why wouldn't they? One game, those guys should come through and at least give them another chance. So I think this is going to be the closest game. I'm going to make my prediction. This is going to be the tightest game we actually get of the 4 play-in games here on Wednesday night. But I'm going to say the Bulls just squeak it out because I'm feeling chalky about a lot of these. Chalky.
Giddey, 31, 10, and 9 for the Thunder in a play-in game. Once upon a time.
Wow, look at that. Nice pull.
Had a huge game. Then he followed up with 6 points in the next play-in game that they lost.
Okay, well, will you live with that? You get at least to see them here in Atlanta, potentially.
Yeah, that would be perfect. That would be the ideal scenario. And then they're still in the lottery.
Oh, right. So it'd be check. Okay. So everybody leaning Bulls. And Minnie, you're going Bulls or you're going Heat? With their like top end talent.
I'm going on Miami.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. I don't mind that.
Yeah, this is the opportunity for the first 10th seed to make the playoffs. Because the Miami Heat are playing here again in the Eastern Conference where you can win 2 games. This is the best opportunity because it hasn't happened. And the Miami Heat, you can play for that. Spoelstra can say to the guys, let's be that first 10th seed. Yes, Jimmy Butler was there when they had a miraculous run and they were an 8 seed and made the finals, but they just got to win 2 here. They just got to win 2.
Final play-in game is Wednesday night, 10 o'clock. Number 10 Mavs versus the number 9 Kings. Tass, why don't you get us started here? Loser obviously eliminated.
Well, I want to see Domantas Sabonis against Anthony Davis. Domantas Sabonis has got to be good against this Mavericks team. Domantas Sabonis has always always dominated Anthony Davis. Until this year. I mean, he had won 10 straight against Anthony Davis, and then it didn't come through. Really, he's got to be great. Zach LaVine has got to get hot. The Kings they kind of rely on his ability to get hot, and sometimes it does not happen. And so we'll see about that in that scenario. And we'll see Klay Thompson. I'm interested to see Klay Thompson played against Sacramento Kings last year when he was with the Golden State Warriors in the play-in, and he was 0 for in that play-in game where the Warriors got crushed by the Sacramento Kings. So he's got something to play for as well, but he's going to have to be big. Those are my matchups I'm watching.
TK?
It's interesting because the Mavs have the best player in the series in Anthony Davis. He's looked all right since coming back from injury. Had some big games, had some okay games. The Kings, meanwhile, have the most play-in experience, I think, ever. And it will probably, no one will ever approach the play-in accolades that this team has. All their guys played in the play-in last year. They added DeRozan, who played in the play-in with the Bulls all the time.
Yep.
LaVine also played in the play-in with the Bulls all the time. Mr. Play-in, Jonas Play-in, Chunas himself, hasn't missed one yet. This team is built to be in the play-in, and I think there's more question marks for the Mavericks with regards to their starting lineup, because this doesn't make sense to me to be a series where they would start PJ Washington, Anthony Davis, and Derek Lively. So I wonder if maybe Max Christie gets the start for Derek Lively, who just returned from injury, which would then have Anthony Davis on Sabonis. I don't know if that's good news or bad news for the Mavericks. Sabonis could get him into foul trouble for sure, but I think they would maybe want a little bit more defensive acumen on the perimeter in Max Christie. I don't know. It's just odd matchups all around. So I don't know. I think it would be encouraging for the Mavericks to win, like a bigger win for the Mavs. Yeah. But I'm leaning Kings for whatever reason. I don't know. I don't feel good about that at all.
I know. Yeah, whatever you pick when it comes to the Sacramento Kings, the opposite will happen, as we've proven time and time again. Are you backing?
I'll take the Kings.
You're taking the Kings?
Yeah,
I am as well. I'm doing like March Madness chalk here, it feels like, with all the
so disappointed.
Well, I just know they're going to lose now. If I am taking them, they're going to lose. So congrats to the Dallas Mavericks. And Minnie, where are you going with Dallas, Sacramento?
Everything's pointing toward the Kings, so I feel like it's got to be the Mavericks.
Okay, I love it.
Swerve.
That's right. That's the swerve you do. All right, so those are the play-in games. Again, they start Tuesday, Wednesday. We'll be, of course, recapping those in detail the following morning, and then eventually looking ahead to the Friday matchups when we see who the winner and losers are of those particular games. But I have the final results for how well we fared with our NBA preseason over/under win total picks, and I am happy to say, despite losing the Nut Dust Bowl, Trey, you cooked this year. Look at these stats. TK hit 66% of his over/under picks, finishing 10-5 in each conference, 20-10 overall. You went 4-2 with your locks. You hit the Celtics over 58.5. We actually all had that one. You hit the Wizards under 20.5. We all had that one, and you hit the Thunder over 56.5. We all had that one too. That's a strong strategy, maybe. Playing the consensus. You hit the Jazz under 29.5, and your two losses were taking both the Heat and Suns over. There's a reason you burn easily, maybe, on the beach. But you actually picked up 2 over/under win total victories on the final day of the season. You cashed in on the Raptors under 30.5. If they had won, that would have been 31. Tass and I could have took it, obviously. And the Grizzlies, you had over 47.5. So they just got there. And again, Tass and I were on the opposite side of that one. So we could have used those as you see our records.
I locked both of those the opposite direction.
Yeah, you had 2
Came
locks.
down to the final game.
2 locks that you got sort of screwed there on the final day.
That was fun.
I had 14-16 overall records, 3-3 on my locks. That's fine. I guess my best ones were the Knicks under 54.5, the Jazz under 29.5, and the Spurs under 36.5. And I probably got lucky with the Wembanyama injury for that one. I lost on the Magic over, Nuggets over by 2 games, and the Bulls under. I was trying to be a good friend and said the Bulls were going to be bad this year. And then Money Melas, tough year. I have you down as 11-19 with the asterisks there, though, because I swear in watching it a couple times, you never actually picked a side for the Bulls over/under when we did our podcast. I put it down as an L, but you're really 11-18-1 because I don't think you picked.
Oh, I picked. All right. I was riding the Bulls.
What do you mean? You didn't say it on the podcast.
Well, I picked them.
How would I know that?
Well, you didn't need to do this. I didn't ask you to go look
any of this.
No. Anyways, I'm 12 and 18.
Okay, 12 and 18. Okay, sure. You went 1-5 on your locks, though.
Yeah,
and
sucks.
those two yesterday that you said, the Raps and Grizzlies, didn't hit.
Yeah, I took the Bucks and the Nuggets way over.
And the
that
Hornets.
didn't happen.
Yep.
The Bucks Nuggets I don't feel so bad about. The Hornets, oh gosh, terrible. And as far as the Raptors go, it's all injuries, man. It's all injuries. If Emmanuel quickly plays half the NBA season, they win 31 games. That's for sure.
Yeah, one more. Well, it looked like it was going to happen yesterday with Jamison Battle on fire early. Well, I was watching. I was locked in on Raptors Spurs there for a little bit yesterday. But anyway, congrats to you. That's a hell of a record. 20-10 is no joke.
It's pretty good.
You can make some cash if you back those.
And the best pick'em record for the season.
Yes, you did. You're right.
And the worst Nut Dust Bowl record.
Hey,
it's the trifecta.
Yeah, can't win them all. All right, tomorrow we're going to start our NBA playoff previews and predictions. You guys want to start with the Eastern Conference, or you want to start with the West?
We always start with these.
I know. I don't know
zones.
why. It just like it feels right. So we will. We'll start with the East, and I'm pretty excited to break down Pacers Bucks and then Knicks Pistons.
Both
I
spicy.
think those are
Yeah.
going to be two really good series, the ones we know in the East right now. On Wednesday, we'll get to the Western Conference, and obviously once we know the 2-7 matchups, we'll start doing those. We got a busy week. Not only breaking down all these playoff previews, but Jesh paying off his pick'em loss in a different Disney costume every day. Yeah, look at that. That looks good. Would you ever wear that to Disney? You like to go?
Where the Minnie Mouse?
Yeah. Wouldn't it be a big hit?
Yeah, probably, you know?
Yeah.
Courtney's got a Minnie Mouse thing. I had a little Mickey hoodie that I wore for a little bit.
Oh, you've
so
already sort of done this.
I've kind of done it a little bit, but
Well.
that's about the extent, you know?
Was that the Minnie Mouse dance?
Yeah. You want to see it again?
Yeah, of course we do.
This is the clubhouse, you know?
Oh, she does that.
I had no idea that's.
Something like that.
Oh, can now stay on you. Can
Okay.
you hit a 3 like your Mikal Bridges and then do the celebration? Yeah, that's right. It's like
The gloves are
Donald
cool,
Duck
man.
did. Now Minnie's doing it. All right, well, you got to tune in tomorrow to see what costume Jesh is wearing when we get into our playoff previews. Until then, Clipper Bros.
You heard it here first. Have a great time. Turn up. Love you guys. Awesome.
Thanks for joining us, and remember, congrats to Rory McIlroy for making it happen at the Masters. Also, congrats to Doc Rivers for not checking his phone, because when he was interviewed after the third quarter, he asked Cassidy Hubbard, "What's going on in the Masters?" He didn't check. So respect. He didn't even ask one of his assistant coaches, they could have just looked at their phone. So I appreciate that. You know, Doc could easily, if you get an Apple Watch, you could easily just look at who's winning.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Good respect, man. Respect.
So you think after the game, he like sort of fast forwarded through and watched it all? I mean, you could in golf.
Yeah.
Golf condensed rounds. Do people do that?
Oh, absolutely. For
72
one player,
shots?
for sure. Yeah.
I'll just watch
Rory.
Like
Yeah.
3 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, that was an up and down round. I don't know how much you watched. Holy crap. Up and down tournament for this guy. He had the highs of the highs and lows of the lows, man. I thought he was blowing it for sure.
And on Saturday,
He did
same
blow
thing
it.
happened.
He did.
I know.
Yeah, that's amazing. To actually win after blowing it on the 18th, that was impressive.
That was cool. though,
Career
when he-
Grand Slam.
When he
Exciting.
ultimately won and they showed obviously the walk-off camera and like him just hugging everybody, dapping everybody, 7 minutes of silence on the CBS broadcast.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
The only sport, man. The only sport.
Just the birds chirping. All right. We'll see you tomorrow. Embrace the day, people.